talk about a topic that seems super simple, but actually has more depth than you think about it. It's GDD: Generalization, Distortion, Deletion. Sounds easy, right? But trust me, it's not that simple. Let's first understand what is this GDD and why it's important for us to be aware of it. Let's consider a few scenarios. You've gone for a movie with your friends. You might like a couple of scenes, but your friends don't like them. Or maybe you excitedly share an idea, expecting enthusiasm, but your group gives you a lukewarm response. Why don't people see the things or think the way you do? This is because our brain doesn't process reality as it is. I'm a mindset coach and a psychology student. Let me explain. In many cases, we tend to filter, we twist, we categorize information based on our past experiences, beliefs, and emotions. That is why no two people experience the world in exactly the same way. Let's talk about numbers. Research shows that an average person is bombarded with 34 gigabytes of information every single day. That's like watching 30 full length movies. Now, do we actually remember everything? Of course not. If we did, our brains would definitely go into a meltdown. Instead, our subconscious mind uses shortcuts, that is, mental filters, to make sense of the overwhelming information around us. These filters shape our perceptions, and they're categorized into three main types: generalization, which means creating broad rules based on limited experiences, then deletion, which means ignoring certain details, and distortion, which means twisting reality based on the emotions or the past experiences we've had. This GDD model is a neuro-linguistic programming, and understanding it can drastically improve your communication, decision making, and thinking skills. Let's break it down. Generalization, which I often call as brain's copy paste function. You would frequently hear or say statements like, all bosses are rude, or I'll never be good at public speaking, or I'm bad at mathematics. That's generalization in action. Our brain takes a single experience and applies to it as a universal truth. Generalizations can be useful. They help us learn quickly, but they also create biases, stereotypes, and self imposed limitations. These days, we often hear all men are like that, all women are like that. But is that true? So, next time, whenever you catch yourself using the words like always, never, everyone, or no one, pause. Ask yourself, is this really true? Can I even find one exception to prove this wrong? What else could be possible? Now, let's see the second filter, which is deletion. And I often refer to it as brain's auto ignore mode. Deletion happens when our brain filters out information that it considers unimportant. For example, you're reading a book in a noisy cafe and somehow you don't realize the background chatter. Your brain deleted that noise. All you were focusing on the book that you're reading. Or a speaker at a seminar ignores the audience's disinterest and keeps talking enthusiastically. Or you only focus on your failures, deleting all the times you succeeded. Deletion is not always bad. It helps us focus, but it can cause problems when we unconsciously ignore important details. And how we can challenge deletion. Ask yourself, am I focusing on what fits my belief? What am I not seeing in this situation? Is there more information that I need to consider? Now let's come to the third filter, which is distortion. And I often refer to it as when the brain plays broken telephone. Distortion happens when we misinterpret reality based on our assumptions or emotions. For example, your boss sends you a short email and you assume they're angry at you when they were really in a rush. Or a friend doesn't reply to your text and you start thinking they must be mad at me. Or you believe working late means you're bad at your job, instead seeing it as a dedication. Distortion is dangerous because it leads to false beliefs, misunderstandings, and unnecessary stress. But you can challenge these thinking patterns. Ask yourself, am I making assumptions without proof? Could there be any other explanation? Or what's the real evidence here? If you're with me on this video till now, I'm sure this topic has sparked some aha moments for you. Now that you've realized that you often fall into this GDD trap, I can help you leverage it to your benefit. Hear me out. First, it can help you communicate better. When you catch yourself or others deleting key information, distorting facts, or making sweeping generalizations, you can ask the right questions and clarify misunderstandings before they escalate. Second, it sharpens your decision making skills. When you stop seeing things through a narrow or biased lens, you can make choices based on reality, not just your filtered perception of it. And third, it enhances your emotional intelligence. When you pause and recognize that your reactions are shaped by your internal filters, you respond more thoughtfully instead of impulsively. Beyond that, mastering GDD can be a game changer in conflict resolution and relationships. How many arguments have started simply because one person assumed something while the other never meant that? By questioning your own interpretations and being mindful of these patterns, we create space for healthier, more constructive conversations. Now here's a challenge for you. For next 24 hours, catch yourself what you're generalizing, what you're deleting, and what you're distorting. Comment me below and tell me which of these three you find yourself doing the most. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share because understanding your mind is the first step to mastering it. Hit the bell icon so don't you miss the next episode. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.